We are live on YouTube.
All right. And welcome, everybody. And we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. We have people that are connecting to their audio. We'll see if they're able to get those tech issues sorted out, and then we'll get started. We're glad you're all here today to hear about solutions to your lymphatic disorder. And in the chat, if you're following us on YouTube or if you're here with us on Zoom, be sure and put in the chat where you're from, where you're listening to us from. We always love to hear that. And it looks like Nicole is still having issues about connecting to audio, but I'm thinking, Robert, that we're about 7 minutes after the hour. Maybe we should just go ahead and get started.
Yep, sounds good. We will go ahead and get started. Oh yeah, and I won't need to record this then because it'll be on YouTube.
Okay. So welcome everyone to our webinar about lymphatic lifestyle solutions and what you can do lifestyle-wise to help you with your lymphedema or other lymphatic disorder. Robert's going to share with you some interesting statistics.
All right. So let's just look at a couple of things that are good to consider. So did you know that 40% of our health is actually determined by our habits? So that's when we compare it to other things like access to medical care, genetics, social circumstances, and those kind of things, and to determine what determines our health and to what percentage. So our habits, our behaviors, our lifestyle determines 40% of our health. That's pretty cool because that means that's 40% that we can actually do something with if we feel powerless under our health conditions. Another kind of grim statistic is that 88% of US adults have an unhealthy metabolism. That means only 12 people have a healthy metabolism in America. So that shows us we have a serious problem when it comes to metabolism. Which of course is heavily influenced by lifestyle, especially how we eat. So those two statistics to me make it well worth looking into these things. So yeah.
I was just going to say, it's just amazing how much of an impact our lifestyle can have and how much you have the power to change and have an impact on your health.
Yeah. So what will you get today? You are going to get some tips for making lasting healthy lifestyle changes. You're going to walk away with things that you can put to use right away. You're going to discover the most important components to focus on for lymphedema and weight management. We're going to try to narrow it down for you so you can walk away with something you can put to use right away. You're going to learn how lymphatic health can be improved with a ketogenic diet. So I imagine you're probably curious about that, and we'll be going through that. You're going to also hear some inspirational stories of those that have done this and have improved their health. You're going to receive an opportunity to join us in the Lymphatic Lifestyle Solutions online program. So we're going to show you what you can do to make these lifestyle changes. And anybody who attended this course and that signed up for this course will get a 50% off discount code for the full year version of the program, and we'll show how that works at the end. And you will also get a complimentary coaching session with me, Robert Erkstam.
So just to quickly introduce ourselves, I'm Leslyn Keith, and I've been treating lymphatic and fat disorders for over 20 years. I teach other therapists on how to treat lymphedema through close training. And I've written 2 books about using lifestyle and a ketogenic diet for lymphatic and fat disorders. And I also do a lot of volunteer work with the Lymphedema Project.
And my name is Robert Erkstam. I'm an occupational therapist, certified lymphedema therapist. I'm also a health and wellness coach. I've been in occupational therapy for 24 years. I've been working with lymphedema therapy for 18 years. Became a health and wellness coach maybe about 15 years ago. And I'm the owner of Self-Care Therapy in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's a private practice lymphedema management clinic where we also do health and wellness coaching.
And just a quick disclaimer, I'm sorry, my screen is blocking part of the stuff to read on here, but just a quick disclaimer about our what you're about to hear in this webinar, that we are not a replacement for your doctor. We don't know your individual medical situation. So this is all educational information only, and please check with your healthcare provider who knows you before you implement any things that we suggest in this webinar.
And I can't see the initials, so you'll have to guide
I know,
me.
I can't see the initials either, so sorry. I think this is you, Robert.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's consider these questions. So here's where we want you to participate on your own wherever you're at, and we may have some that are listening in on YouTube also. So ask yourself this: have you repeatedly tried and failed multiple diets? Are you overwhelmed by the care and management of your lymphedema? Are you confused about what is the optimal plan for managing your lymphedema and your weight? Or maybe you already know what you need to do, but have found it too challenging to implement your plan. That's an experience a lot of people have. And I think these questions, of course, are not random. These are the exact things that Leslie and I have noticed with our clients in our clinics, is that they have these frustrations. So that's what we have set out to try to help with. And of course, the last and ultimate question is, do you wish to feel better more often? And I believe we all do, but it can be so hard to know what we can actually do. So hopefully we'll answer some of those questions today as to what you can actually do about these things. So here's where we want you to participate in this way. To answer this question: how confident are you right now that you can do anything about these issues on a scale of 1 to 10? Of course, we did perhaps already up that number by showing you the 40%. But if you think even before that, how confident do you feel that you can do something about those issues that we just mentioned? So 10 would mean very confident. And in this case, we're saying without any help, just where you're at right now.
And if you want to post that in our chat, if you're here with us on Zoom, or you can post it on YouTube if you're listening live there, you can post what number, where you feel your level of confidence is.
Keep an eye on that YouTube chat here on the side. There. Yeah, we'd love to hear what your number is. And oh, we got one here. We got a 7.
That's pretty darn good, Nicole.
That's good.
We're hoping we can help you raise that even higher. And Susan's at a 5.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What we're hoping to do, even in today's short session, is to up that number.
Yes.
And I'm gonna explain why that is so important and right here. So one thing that we've kind of promised today is that we're going to show you 3 most important things, ways of thinking in order to make successful lifestyle change. So one of the questions was, maybe we know what we need to do, but we feel like we fail every time we try. So we've learned a few things working with people and watching people actually make lifestyle changes. And one thing we can say is there are certain things that people have in common that when they do make these lifestyle changes and actually change their habits. And there are three key things that are wildly important, I would say. So the first thing is focus on the right thing. So I noticed that people that focus on the things that they can do something about, focus on that 40%, the behavior. Genetics plays a role, it plays 30%, but we can't change our genetics. So it's pointless to focus on that. And if we get stuck focusing on the things we can't change, then we are stuck because of what we're focusing on. So it may sound hokey, but just being able to shift the focus to the things we can change, that's where change really begins. It won't happen until we make that shift. So we have to self-assess and to see where am I focusing right now. So for example, lymphedema, we're always told that this is chronic and there's nothing we can do to make it better. Yet we know that the number one contributing factor for lymphedema is obesity. And maybe it's a sensitive thing to bring up because we tend to be very judgmental on ourselves. And we might take that in a negative way and say, well, does that mean it's my fault? No, not at all. There's still all kinds of factors that we have no control over. It's not our fault. But what we can say is there are things we can do to change it. So if we have obesity and lymphedema, we can change the obesity. Not easy, but it can be done. We've seen it happen. So now that we're focusing on the right thing, we have to also believe that change is possible. And I hope that some of the statistics we're going to show you today and also the inspirational stories we're going to show you today will help to turn that number up to where you believe that it is possible. Because if we don't believe it's possible, the chances of succeeding are very, very small. So if we don't believe, we can't just tell ourselves to believe. We have to look for facts to back up the belief that we want to have, which is that it is possible. So, and then we want to set an environment around us to make it possible. So maybe we think, well, it's not possible for me alone, but maybe it's possible for me if I join a community, or if I get support, if I get coaching, or if I get help in the right way, then maybe it is possible. So this is what I'm talking about here is limiting beliefs. So we want to recognize those where they're coming from and then argue with them and to say, are these limiting beliefs, are the beliefs holding me back, and are they really true? We want to question any of the limiting beliefs that we have. So that was the second leg of the three-legged stool. And the third leg is you have to have a reason. You have to have a strong reason. The reason to improve blood work is good, but it's not strong enough. Reason to see a different number on the scale if we're trying to lose weight, that's a measurement, not a reason. So we want to ask ourselves the question why, and we want to ask it like a relentless 4-year-old that asks why and then follows that up with why. So you want to say, why do I want to make these lifestyle changes? And then maybe we say, well, I'd like to see my lymphedema improve. I'd like to lose weight. I'd like to, and then we say, well, why? Well, I want to feel better. Well, now we're getting a little closer because now we're getting into feelings and emotions. And then we say, well, if you felt better, what would you do? I would be able to go. I'll take an example from one of my clients who we kept asking this question, and she said, well, I want to be able to continue to go to my grandchildren's baseball games. Well, now we're really tapping into something that really matters, and you got to have that in front of you when you start making these changes. So this is what we've seen from experience, but also research backs this up, that if you focus on the right thing, you have to believe that it's possible, and you have to have a strong, compelling reason why. Then lifestyle change is possible. You take one of these away and your odds of succeeding really go down.
So if we're going to focus on the right thing, we need to focus on some key components about what make our lymphatics the most healthy they can be. And that primary thing is going to be nutrition, but it's not the only thing. We're also need to focus on some kind of movement or physical activity, and we need to focus on our sleep, and we need to focus on stress resilience. These 4 factors have a huge impact on our lymphatic health. And so by stressing these 4 behaviors, something that we can focus on, that we can have an impact on, we can have a huge impact on our lymphatics. So the first of these is healthy nutrition. And so we promote a ketogenic nutrition. And so a lot of our support that we give you is the science and the why and the how for implementing a ketogenic lifestyle. And you can see that the foods that you have on this type of this way of eating are just normal looking foods. There's nothing unusual, nothing packaged. It's just real whole foods. And it really focuses on restricting carbohydrates. And many people are not even sure what foods are carbohydrates. And so that's one of the basic things that we do in the course, is letting you know what are carbohydrates, what are proteins, what are fats, and then finding the ones that you like of those, the ones that are going to be healthiest for you to eat. We really want you to eat plenty of healthy fats, but healthy fats that you enjoy. And we want to make sure that you have plenty of protein. We find that in a standard Western diet, there is a lot of carbohydrates and people don't get enough protein. And we really need that for having a healthy lymphatic system. I'm not sure which one of this is us, Robert, so should I just continue?
Yeah, you keep on going.
So a well-formulated ketogenic diet, specifically for what's the impact of that way of eating on lymphedema? Well, what we're discovering now through research, that dietary fat, healthy dietary fats, actually fuel the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system functions better when it has those fats. We're also finding that that actually healthy fats increase the lymphatic flow by increasing the contraction of those lymphatic vessels. So if you're looking at lymphedema where you're having a decreased ability to transport fluid out of a swollen area, having that increased flow can have a huge impact on your lymphedema. And lastly, ketones can actually stimulate the formation of new lymphatic vessels. So you're talking about someone maybe who has their lymphedema because of cancer treatment. They have maybe lymph nodes removed or radiation therapy that impacted their ability to get fluid out of a swollen area. And if you can generate new lymphatic vessels around an area of obstruction, then you're going to have a huge impact on the swelling. So diets high in carbohydrate, so a standard American diet that is typically very, very high in carbohydrates, it actually can cause inflammation. And so then you have reduced lymphatic flow or reduced drainage from a swollen area. And so that way of eating is actually harmful. And what we're finding is a ketogenic diet is actually beneficial for lymphatics and lymphedema. So just a couple of examples. This is Georgia. She was, at the time that she joined the lymphatic lifestyle group, she was 71 years old. She saw herself in the role of an active gardener and a grandmother, but she was finding that her symptoms were keeping her from participating in those roles. She had lipolymphedema, meaning a combination of lipedema and lymphedema, and she was severely depressed. She had that gradual weight gain and swelling on her lower body, severe chronic pain and fatigue, even was suffering from what she called brain fog, and just feeling like she was pretty much ready for a wheelchair. And so she started the ketogenic diet as part of our group. And she went from 232 to 186 pounds, but that wasn't even the best of what happened to her. Her pain completely resolved. Her energy improved so much that she was back to gardening 3 to 4 hours a day and walking on the beach with her husband. Her brain fog lifted, and her blood panel came back excellent. hugely improved by changing the way she ate. And so she had kind of a spectacular turnaround, and you can see that this is how Georgia looks today. So a pretty spectacular improvement in everything from the objective to just how she felt. She feels better more often. Do this to improve your lymphedema. Maybe that your symptoms of lymphedema are so difficult. And I'm hoping that I saw my internet was unstable. Did I freeze there at all?
You did freeze for just a second, but
Okay.
okay.
So as I was saying, that sometimes people want to join our group and implement these lifestyle changes just to manage their lymphedema, whether they need to lose weight or not. Their lymphedema is troubling to them, and they have a variety of symptoms that they just would like all of those associated with lymphedema to improve. And it's what we're finding in research is that even if you don't have weight that you need to lose, that you can have a huge improvement by changing this way of eating. There has been some excellent studies, many of them actually on animals, and we're just starting a new study with people with lymphedema. But what these animal studies have shown is that that the lymphatics actually become inflamed and don't transport the fluid as well as they should when you have a high fructose diet. And we know that high fructose corn syrup is in just about every packaged food that we get. And so that can be tremendously inflammatory to the lymphatic system. In this one study with women who are breast cancer survivors, and they wanted to see the impact of weight loss on their lymphedema arm. And typically, anytime you lose weight, the swelling in your arm would go down. But in this one case, it didn't. And that was because they were using a very high carbohydrate, high fructose diet along with exercise and compression therapy. And so they all lost weight, but their lymphedema did not go down. And a couple of the studies showed how important fatty acids and ketones were to lymph vessel growth, and how lymphatics actually prefer fatty acid and ketones to glucose, even when glucose is available. And you can see from this is one study that they induced lymphedema in the tail of a rat. And by doing a surgical procedure, so you can see how this is the body of the rat is up here, and this is going to the end of the tail. And so they got lymphedema, and they fed one group just a standard rat chow, and the other group of rats were fed a high fructose, a high fat, low carbohydrate ketogenic diet. And they actually showed that lymphatic vessels were able to form across the scar, and we had decreased swelling in this group. This is a cross section of the tail, and you can see all of this is swelling here, but the ones that had a ketogenic diet had a much less swelling. So pretty spectacular impact of this way of eating on lymphedema. And just to show you another case study of someone who actually did not need to lose weight. And when you look at Kelly here, he looks like he is obese, and in fact, he was not. This is all lymphedema. His trunk filled up with lymphedema. So at the time in 2005, he was 51 years old, and he was a triathlete. He was a career military officer, and he had a procedure where they injected a plastic polymer that was supposed to go into his esophagus, but they ended up injecting it into his lymphatic system, into the thoracic duct in his trunk. And so then he got all of these symptoms after that, and they did not even know what was going on for actually quite a few years. But he had that weight gain, swelling all over, but especially in his trunk and his head and neck. He got difficulty breathing, severe pain. He had stomach issues, and but they thought he was just obese, and so eat a low-fat, low-calorie diet and exercise, which actually made him worse. But he did find out about the ketogenic way of eating, and had a spectacular weight loss decreased, but again, it wasn't fat. He lost fluid, and he had all of these improvements in function and how he felt just from changing the way he ate. So you can see it had a huge impact on him. He did not have any fat to lose. He just had fluid from his lymphedema to lose.
Okay.
I think this is you, Robert.
Yep. So we've talked now a bit about food, and we do in the course, in the online course, we start with food because we feel like that's where you get your best return on investment to start feeling better. You change how you eat and you start feeling better, and as you start feeling better, you can begin to address the other components that we also address in the course that are just as important. It's just a good order of things to go about it that way. So we're going to address physical activity, stress, and sleep, among other things. So what are some of the benefits of physical activity? A lot of us probably already know that it's good to exercise, but there are actually a lot of other reasons to exercise that we can still learn about. So physical activity does lower blood pressure. That's been proven. And of course, it maintains and builds muscle mass, which is extremely important as we age, and also extremely important for lymphedema, since the lymphatic system is very dependent on the muscle tissue working. It reduces stress and enhances mood. So you can also see how these four things tie together. So if we eat better, we feel better, and when we feel better, we get more physically active. And when we're more physically active, that's one of the best stress management methods out there, is exercise. It helps to improve sleep. So there's our fourth component. That's been proven. It increases energy levels and mental alertness. And you can see a little bit of a picture there on the right on the blood flow in the brain after sitting quietly on the left, and after just a 20-minute walk, just how much more brain activity we get. And it enhances the muscle joint pump to help reduce swelling. So just getting mechanical motion in the muscles is huge for the lymphatic system. It improves the flow through the lymph vessels immediately as soon as we start moving. So there is some emphasis on that. And then this is lesson slide.
Okay, so another component of our program was we talk about sleep, because sleep is actually hugely important to lymphatic function. And actually, the lymphatic function in our brains is hugely important to our brain health. It actually is, it's a pretty relatively new discovery about the lymphatics in our brains. And one reason is because the lymphatics in our brains are most active when we're sleeping, because the brain tissue actually shrinks a little bit, which actually you can see how much wider this lymphatic channel is during the sleep state versus here in the waking state. And so it's able to flow better. And so what's happening is that the lymphatics in our brain is delivering nutrients to our brain, but it's also removing all of the waste and the toxins. And it needs to happen when we sleep. It is so interesting that they've found that people who are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and other dementias, as well as other neurodegenerative diseases, there is a strong correlation with having, prior to their brain or central nervous system disorder, prior to that diagnosis, they had a sleep disorder. They were not getting adequate sleep. And so all these things are so intertwined, having good sleep, having lymphatic health, and having brain health. So that's why sleep is also a big component in our training program.
And then we have the fourth component here, which is stress. There are such strong correlations here too, and how it affects weight gain and the lymphatics. So when we are stressed, there are several things that happens in our body. It physically happens in our body. When we're stressed, our appetite increases, so that causes more food cravings and weight gain. And this isn't just purely emotional. Now, we're all familiar with emotional eating, but even on a hormonal level, that there are hormones that stimulate appetite and things like that. One, for example, called ghrelin, that is affected by stress. Food cravings are affected by stress. So then and stress causes weight gain, especially around the midsection. Stress, and when we say stress, it's important to emphasize we're talking chronic stress. Acute stress is not that bad for us. We need some stress in our lives, but if it's too much stress for too long without enough recovery, that's the stress that's bad for us. So that's what we're talking about here with these symptoms. It can cause increased anxiety and depression. It can cause mood swings, decreased sex drive, impaired immune response, and decreased efficiency of the lymphatics, and it can cause impaired memory and learning. So let's go to the next slide, because what's really important when we talk about stress and what we really emphasize in the course, it isn't to just talk about that it's dangerous. I think most of us know that by now, that too much chronic stress can be dangerous, but knowing that doesn't help us at all. Actually, a study showed that people that are more aware of the dangers of stress are more likely to get a heart attack. It's kind of ironic. So just knowing that doesn't help us unless we also know what we can do about it. Fortunately, there's been lots and lots of research done in that area. So we can lean on that research and we can say, okay, here are some proven methods to decrease these risk factors that are caused by chronic stress. So here's a list for you of things that are studied, researched, and proven to help both decrease the effects of the chronic stress, but another way to put it is it makes us more resilient to stress, because we're not going to eliminate stress from our lives. And actually, if we did, our lives would become rather meaningless, because it's often the things that causes us stress are the same things that mean something to us. If they didn't mean something to us, we probably wouldn't be stressed about them. So that's another irony of it, is we can't really eliminate those things usually. We can reduce some of them, but so it's not a matter of eliminating stress. It's a matter of learning how to become more resilient to stress so that we mentally and physically can handle the things that life is throwing our way. So here are some of the techniques. And the way I think of a list like this is look at this list and think to yourself, is there any of these things that I'm ready to try right now or research further? And that's one thing you can walk away with right now is this list right here. And you can say, is there anything that you're ready to and willing to begin to experiment with and see if it helps you feel better? So breathing techniques, I put that first for a reason. We could do a whole class just on that, and we will cover some of that in the class, why that works. Mindfulness meditation, same thing, volumes of research done on that. Journaling, it's been proven that people are that journal, especially if we write down things that we are thankful for, gratitude journaling, been proving that people that do that are happier and handle stress better. Time management, of course, we're going to cover that. We have a whole session on life balance and time management. Be proactive, not reactive. We can also increase our stress resilience by purposely exposing ourselves to acute stress. And that's something we can talk about more too in the class, but you may have heard the craze about cold plunges and cold showers. But what that really does is it creates a controllable acute stress, and it basically makes us stronger to handle physiological stress. Exercise is a form of stress, but it's a form of acute stress that we are in control over. So again, those are the kind of stressors that actually help build stress resilience. And then another thing, and we all know this intuitively, when we do something fun, when we do something that puts us into a state of flow where we don't even think about time, that's a very good recovery time to make up for the stressful times. Yoga, Tai Chi, walking in nature has been proven. And of course, sleep, eating healthy, unplugging, especially social media, especially the part of social media where we're comparing our lives to others' imaginary lives. That causes a lot of undue chronic stress. If we can unplug some from that, socializing, being with others has been proven to reduce stress, and laughing in itself reduces stress. So there you go. There's a list for you to start experimenting with.
And of course, we go into these things a lot in the course.
Yeah.
So let's look at the course a little bit. It is 6 self-paced learning modules plus a bonus module. We'll tell you what each of those modules include. And then we have a regularly scheduled AMA, also known as an Ask Me Anything. So we have a session with Robert and I where pretty much you can ask any question and we will help you, give you some suggestions, some ideas, some resources to help you with finding answers. We have a members only community forum so that you have, it's just a place just for you to post things, and we respond to your posts, but also your peers will also be responding to posts. You get a free copy of my book, The Lymphatic Code. And of course, there's lots of assignments and worksheets and resources to go with every session of the course. And you get unlimited access to all of these materials for 12 months. Some of the modules in the course are, of course, we start out with the foundation, ketogenic nutrition, and then we'll look at physical activity, stress resilience, the importance of sleep, and very important, how to balance everything, life balance and time management, because taking care of your lymphedema can be quite consuming. And how do you make these changes last a lifetime? So planning for sustained change. Our bonus module is specifically about optimal lymphedema management. There is a lot of people out there saying that they do help you take care of your lymphedema, but it's not always in an optimal format. And so we talk about that so you know what you should be looking for when you go out to have treatment with a healthcare provider. And so we'll talk about complete decongestive therapy, compression garments, different complementary therapies that can help with your lymphedema. There is surgeries out there specifically for lymphedema, as well as medications.
Okay, so now we want to ask, or we want you to ask yourself the same question that we asked in the beginning. So how confident are you that change is possible? But we did change the question a little bit, with guidance and support on a scale of 1 to 10. So how confident do you feel that it is possible to make changes, or that change is possible with guidance and support on a scale of 1 to 10? Those of you that are here, feel free to answer here. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can answer there as well in the chat.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like we have some people who, Susan went up from 5 to 7.5. That's actually very thrilling. That's
nice.
Exciting. And then I think we also had, I'm trying to see if I can look at some responses too. And Nicole went up to 9.5. Wow.
Way to go. Awesome. Thank you for that. That makes it worth doing this webinar today. If we could have that effect, because that's what we want to do, is to give hope and show that it's possible. Okay, is this me?
Yes.
I believe so. Okay, so let's look at some of the options that we have to participate in this online course that Leslie and I have put together. So we do have a special offer right now if you'd rather than buying the entire year course, you can do it month by month. So for $49 a month, you get access to everything, and that's the community package. And you can cancel it at any time. Of course, we hope and we believe you will find enough value to stay on as a member. month by month. But you have the option to drop out anytime you feel like, anytime that you feel like. So with this, for each month that you're a member, you have access to all the 6 self-paced modules. So you can watch those videos, and you have access to that bonus module about lymphedema management. You get a PDF download copy of the lymphatic code that Leslie and Keith wrote. Awesome book. And then you get access to a members only instructor monitor community forum. So that's a little chat room where you can go and you can pose questions, you can tell your story, you can share recipes, and Leslie and I are on that forum as well. So if you post questions there, we may answer those questions there, and we may also take those questions and bring them up at the monthly live AMA Ask Me Anything session. So with this membership, you have access to that community and to the live monthly sessions. And if you miss a session, a live session, you get access to the recordings. And so we're only a couple of months into this, but if you sign up now, you still get access to the previous AMA recordings. They are on that same portal with the other videos. And you get tons of worksheets and handouts and resources. So you get the tools that you need to make these changes that are in these modules on each of the topic. If you'd rather go ahead and sign up for a whole year right up front, from now until December 31st, you will have access to a 50% off. So the whole package, the community package, is $588, and that's 12 months access. But with this 50% off coupon, and you will get that emailed to you, and we'll tell you what the coupon code is right now. Your price would only be $294. And what that will include is all of those things that I mentioned, but you will have access to them for 12 months. So there's no more monthly fee for a whole year. So all of those same things that I mentioned in the $49 a month option, membership option. Then there's a third option, and that is if you are more of the lone wolf type who just wants to do this on your own. You don't feel the need to have to be a part of the community or attend the AMA sessions, then you can get just the material itself. So that is, we call that the foundation package. The regular price is $348, but the coupon, the half-off coupon, is good also for this package. So right now, from right now till December 31st, it's only $174 with a coupon for those that attended this webinar. So with this package, you have access to all 6 modules, all the training material. You get the lymphatic code, you get all the worksheets and handouts and resources. So the main difference is you do not have access to the community forum or the live sessions. So I guess one way to put it is you don't have access to us, to me and Leslie, or your class members, but you have all of the materials for you to do this on your own. So the special discount, the special thank you discount code is simple. It's 2022 because it's good until the end of 2022. And that goes for the year packages. Another thing that you also get is you'll get an email with a calendar link where if you'd like to meet me in person, you can get a complimentary coaching session. So I also do individual coaching. Many people find that just doing a self-paced course isn't enough for them, but they want that individualized coaching. So I do a full year coaching program that includes individual life coaching sessions that are customized to your need, usually about 20 sessions over the span of the year. We start out maybe once a week, we go once every other week, then we go once a month to make it last. So and then during that year, you get the online course. So all of the things in the community package are included in the coaching plan. We communicate and support via email anytime. You can do short 15-minute individual sessions as well, in addition to the main 1-hour sessions. and I will do remote monitoring of a food log. So you can log your food, and I would have access to that as your coach. Also have you will get a body composition scale. So all these things we can track and measure remotely. So all of this can be done remotely in one place. We can track progress. I will assist with meal planning. So the remote monitoring biometrics. I also have a device that measures stress, actually, that you wear it's like a heart monitor that measures heart rate variability, and we can actually measure stress to recovery balance, as to see if you are in a place where it's having a harmful effect in your life, and then figure out what to do about that. So we really delve into those 4 parts: sleep, physical activity, stress, and eating, but on an individual coaching basis. So I mentioned this, I guess I was ahead of myself. So that is a bonus for attending and signing up to this, is that you can schedule a complimentary session where we can talk more about the coaching options, and that's where we can also look at how much of an investment that would be. If you have any questions, if you want to contact us, here's our contact information, and our website, where you can sign up for the online course.
Yep. And now we're ready to take questions. If those of you that are here can post stuff in the chat, or if you're willing to unmute and you can state your question. Also, if you're with us on YouTube, go ahead and post questions there. With YouTube, Robert is monitoring that. I'll monitor the ones here on Zoom, but be sure and post that. What I wanted to also just add on to what Robert was saying about the coaching. He also does a thing with ketone monitoring, right, Robert?
Yes. Yep.
So for those of you that know anything about a ketogenic diet, you want to start generating ketones. It shows that you're in fat burning mode. So talk about that a little bit, Robert, about ketones.
Yeah. So that would also be included in the coaching packages. Is you get a couple of different methods of measuring if you're in ketosis. One is a breathalyzer, and one is a blood prick that you can also check blood sugar. So those are the 2 main ways. And the nice thing with all the technology that we have now is all these gadgets can be synced to your smartphone, and then we can both have access to all of the data that comes in from all these devices, from the smart scale, from the ketone meters, and from your food log and all those things. And we can pull up nice graphs. It's always fun to watch progress, but knowing if you're in ketosis or not can be really motivating, and it can also teach you a lot. So you go, okay, if I do this, I go into ketosis. Being in ketosis basically means that you are burning fat, and that your body is running on ketones rather than on glucose or sugar. So even if you're not doing it to lose weight, it's good to know if we are in ketosis, because that's what we're shooting for with the way of eating.
I should also point out to people that Robert has done a couple interviews with people who have done our program previously, and they're on our website. Those of you who signed up for this webinar, you've been to our website, and check out some of those interviews, because they're so inspirational. One of them, Pam, she did not need to lose weight, but she wanted to control her primary lymphedema. She's had it since she was, I think it started when she was 7, and she's now in her 50s. And she really felt like she wanted to better manage it as she was aging. And she and her husband were actually quite astounded on the impact of just implementing lifestyle change, especially dietary change, what a huge impact it had on her lymphedema. And she really lost very little weight, by changing to this way of eating. So she was stunned. So it's kind of a really interesting and inspiring story to hear. And of course, several of the other people who had quite strong health conditions and needed to lose a lot of weight. And they're very, very inspiring as well, as that how much improved they are, how much they feel better more often. It's just pretty spectacular what people have been able to do. And really, we have to give credit mostly to them. This was a lot of work. We are just providing the information, the resources, and the support, but it was work, and they met that challenge, and they were able to do it.
It is. It's inspiring, and watching those kind of videos, just like Leslie said, it's not the credit goes to them, but I think that one reason that they agreed to be on YouTube with their story and tell their story is just that they kind of want other people to know that it is possible, that change can happen in that way. And when you see those, like the lady that was on oxygen all of the time, she had lymphedema and she needed to lose weight. She didn't start making these changes thinking that it would affect her COPD. That's another one of those chronic illnesses that she had had for a long time, and you don't expect it to get any better. It usually gets worse. But in that video, you can see where she talks about how she used to wear it all the time, and I saw it. She would come in with her oxygen, wheezing, just from taking a few steps from the car into the office. And then about a year into it, she keeps the oxygen tank in the car in case she would start feeling bad, but she goes pretty much everywhere without it. And what a freedom that must be for her. And these aren't changes that we can, of course, we can't guarantee any of these changes, but it sure is worth a try. When we can see that even those seemingly impossible chronic conditions even have improved.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is, that you each have this ability to make these changes within you, but you may not know what changes to make. And you also, you may feel like you just can't go it alone, and you really need the support. And so that's really what we're offering. We're offering that information about what's the right thing to focus on, and support for making those changes. It's had a spectacular impact on a lot of people. So we hope that you will join us and be here for our AMAs, our live AMAs, where we have some great and very lively discussions. Post on our community forum and give and receive support from your peers.
Yeah, maybe that's a good note to end on, unless we get any questions. We got
Nicole just posted that it was very helpful and encouraging. I'm glad, and I hope that our Robert and I, our wish is that you took something away from today, whether or not you sign up for our course. You took something away that will hopefully have a beneficial impact on you and your life. So we'd love to hear from people. So email us anytime. We'd love to hear how people are doing and their discoveries that they've made. Things that we've put into the course a lot of times came from you. We don't have it all figured out. So sometimes people come up with that they have this new resource or something that they've tried, and then we give it to the community, because it's you guys are learning how to manage your lymphedema, and there's a lot you have to share and help and support other people. So thanks for being here, everybody.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, everybody. I will go on and end on that note.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.